ZZ Top. I was on the Laughlin, Nevada River Run, a motorcycle rally that's kind of it's a mandatory run for all the bike clubs. So all the Hells Angels are there, and the Molochs are there, and just all the bike clubs are there, as well as us citizens, And ZZ Top played. My friend had tickets and took me. And man, when he got done, we looked at each other, and he goes, "That's a lot of sound for three guys, isn't it?" And I go, "It sure in the hell was." I mean, those guys can put out the sound, and they were good.
Oh, I saw them at the casino, and I was blown away with how heavy they were. It's like, holy cow! It doesn't sound like that when you're listening to them on your stereo, but man. Go ahead.
I see him more as, Billy Gibbons tours and honors ZZ Top more than the real ZZ Top, especially when you've got a trio band and 1/3 of the body is missing, like Rush. Okay.
That's tough to
is
think.
that really even ZZ Top anymore? I don't think it is. Is it still a great show to go see? I think it probably is.
Probably.
Are they playing ZZ Top music? I think everybody will be very happy with what they hear, but I'm not excited about it.
Well,
I
think the guy that took Dusty Hill's place was his guitar tech of about 40 years, so he knew.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And in fact, Billy Gibbons even mentioned for all these years, he was the only guy in the crew that didn't have a beard. And then I guess after Dusty died, they took a break for a while. Then when they got back together, they said, "Well, he's going to be the new bass player." And Billy, who? He didn't even recognize the guy because the guy grew a beard. So now he's got a beard.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen him up there with his, 42 string basses. That looks impressive. But to me, like ZZ Top didn't need 42 string basses. I don't know. I guess I'm just old fashioned in that way, Dan. Yeah. Dusty Hill was one of the best bassists in rock. I think he's very underrated.
Oh, yes.
And the way he locked in with the drums, that feel, that's all out of Billy's control. Okay.
Right.
All Billy can do is sneak in there with his guitar, hit the pockets right, and sing over it in the rhythm that their rhythm half of the rhythm section is gone. And the guy may be fantastic, but there is something about lineage. And I guess if you're going to bring another guy on, well, the guitar tech might be a guy to consider. But I also kind of think that's the guy you bring on when you're a rock band on your first tour and your original bass player was crushed to death by a flying airplane in the bus while he was asleep. And so you bring on a new guy, and it's so early on. Matter of fact, maybe you don't even have an album out, or you only got one,
Right.
Then that, to me, that kind of move would be a lot more proper, or even far later in the picture than that, maybe. But at this late game, it just doesn't seem ZZ Top to me anymore. It really doesn't.
I'm just glad I got to see ZZ Top. It was like 2 years before Dusty passed away.
My God. Oh,
they're at the 50th. Actually, it was their 50th anniversary of ZZ Top, and they were performing at the 50th anniversary of the Louisville Pop Festival.
I'm envious. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw him, it was probably 2018 or 2019 or something when I saw him.
Yeah, 2019, I think it was their 50th anniversary.
That was probably it then.
Wow. Well, I wanted to ask you, Michael, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we're building on your show right now. I say we because we're all involved voting for the people.
Yeah, everybody.
Let me ask you: is Bon Jovi on a list?
I haven't put him on any list so far, but if people are wanting him on, like I said, I get enough votes for Bon Jovi. I take whatever prepped list that I've barely put together. Parts of it aren't even put together yet. I'm still working on it. This is a living, breathing poll, folks.
Oh, I know.
And I want to respond to, I want to make sure that the majority of the tribe, the ones that speak out the most about a particular artist, that they're represented as far as I possibly can, right?
Okay.
So Bon Jovi, I like Bon Jovi. I'm actually a Bon Jovi fan. I'm not interested in them anymore. But in their heyday with Richie Sambora, I was a fan.
Oh yeah. You know? Well, just
but
so
it's
you know,
not Bon Jovi without Richie Sambora. Sorry.
They're our next band to talk about, Bon Jovi. Okay. And
my wife just said, "I agree with that." Yeah. She said, "That's right."
Yeah. Another. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, my wife could spend her whole day watching Bon Jovi. We got all these music playlists on our YouTube TV.
Oh
we listen to music more than we do anything else there, and so between Jackson Browne and Bon Jovi, I was about to tell her last night, if I have to listen to, and I like them both, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, every single night, if I got to listen to this for one more night, I'm going to alternate between Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath for the next freaking month. Yeah. When I get home from work till I go to bed, I wasn't really going to do that. But how about Jackson Browne? Is he on your list?
He hasn't been put on any list yet. I was trying to remember his name, and I was on to another portion, and this is minutes before I went up tonight. But he would definitely, he'd be in the country rock, genre, definitely. And I'm not differentiating between solo artists and bands. I want the artist, whatever it is, whether it's a collective group of musicians known as the Flying Flamingos, or I want, John Franks, solo artist, or Fran Smith, solo artist. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I want people what moved you the most at that classic rock era? And did you grow up in that classic rock era? And if you did, how did you learn about those rock bands in the 50s? And how did you go about becoming aware of Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson and Billie Holiday? Because it's all part of the same vein. And like I said, the one subgenre that is not dated, every other band has to be from 1955 to 2005, okay? But the blues, including blues bands, okay? But the blues artists can go back to the 1890s if you can find them, all right? Mm-hmm. Because and I even said this on my stream tonight, and Royce agrees with me about this. We are 100% in agreement with this. Without the blues, there ain't no freaking rock and roll. It is its very DNA. And so they get a special extension.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I made a
because
very common...
the roots. That's the roots of rock and roll. And we'll dig back as far. You want to go to 1822? Go ahead. Right.
Well, Michael, you didn't see it, but I made a really common comment on that tonight on your show, and I said the blues had a baby, and then it called it rock and roll, and I've heard that said 100 times by different people,
billion times.
That is the absolute truth, brother.
Right, but I think people have tended to forget this. Now, there is another branch of rock that bleeds in, too, and we can talk about the more Americana approach of the Appalachian, more European influence, but there was a melting pot between the Deep South and the Appalachian. That's kind of the blues, too, so they're cousins of each other, and you can bring that in, right?
That's right.
And we can go all the way back that way, too.
Right. Okay, so we won't beat Bon Jovi up anymore.
I love him.
I just want to mention